let's put date right here, and then let's just fix my formula real quick. And instead of C2, we'll use B5. So I should need to find the C2. There it is. B5. Okay, and there it is. And now if I change this to any of these items over here, in fact, we could use data validation. Let's see if I go, where is that hiding at? Data validation, there we go. So I'll come back over here. I'm just going to select all these bad boys, hit OK, and I want the list from the range. Should be good. Oh, right, I need a location for it. Wait, what did I do? What did I do? Criteria. Did I do it the wrong way? Oh, did it work? Nope, it didn't work. I don't know what I did wrong there, but still proving the point. If you use any of those values over there, helps if the text isn't black, but we'll just do, there we go. Okay, so you can see that. Now, the nice thing is, there's one more step here that'll help make things a little more fluid. If I add dollar signs to these on the back of them, not on the front of them, what that tells Sheets is that if you move or transpose anything in relation to where this formula is currently located, it won't forget where you had that particular item locked to. So I've told it, no matter where I move this formula to on the sheet, I always want you to reference B5. So I'll hit OK on that, and then it breaks it. What did I do now? Oh, is it the dollar signs? What did I do?
I don't think it needs the dollar sign after the 5.
Is it after the 5? I think you need, it's before it, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So if I take this for me now, let's see if it, what did I do now? NA. Well, maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe I copied one that's, no. Oh, no. Oh. The other thing is that if you don't also tell it to lock these ranges, it'll cause everything else to shift as well. I want this one to move around, the one that's telling it which one of the IDs to point at, but I don't want all the other ones to move around. So I'm going to tell those ones to stay still too. Yeah, because as soon as I move it down one, it can't find the region anymore. Okay, so I've locked everything but the transaction ID. Now, hopefully, yay, it worked. Everybody can celebrate with me. And now when we move them all down, we can see the region. Now, I'd actually included the region as part of the ID, so that's not terribly helpful, but we could change it to rep. And if we do that, it'll show you who the reps are. And it's really helpful because you can find exactly what you're looking for in a really large array without having to filter it and then look for it by hand. And then heaven forbid, of course, you got a row hidden somewhere, you might not see it. The advantage is that since I'm doing these formulas on a sheet separate from the data, even if I came over here later and filtered this sheet and shrank it down, as long as all the data was still exactly where I left it, over here, everything would still be untouched and you would still be able to see exactly what you want to see. So hopefully that gives you at least a general understanding of the value and how you can use index and match together to help you easily find data in a large array. All right. So that was the match, the index, the match and index. So how could we use if in a more complicated way to look for this? And hopefully not have it blow up in my face while I try to figure it out real time for you guys here in person. That's the real trick. So let's see. So what kind of fun thing could we do with our data set over here that would be a fun little if function? Oh, that's where the data validation ended up, I guess. What was that, Hal?
How about just doing it if region is east? Just print the total.
So Hal was thinking if we use if, we could get the total of everything in the east region. And that's a good idea. That's actually something you can do with the sum if function. I'm trying to think of something a little more intricate. So like let's say okay. So let's change this real quick to total. Okay. So we got that. And then if this is greater than, well, let's put the number over here actually. So I'll say 1,000 is going to be my target. So I'll put that in the D6 here in just a moment. Then I want to use, no, hang on. There's no reason to do a lot of extra work when I've already done all the work in the other cell. So here, you guys will see what I mean. Just a sec. Let's get rid of the equal sign. So we turn off the formula. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here. I'm just going to copy my working formula. And I'm going to, so if the value in B6 is greater than 1,000, then we're just going to change one thing about the original formula. Otherwise, just be blank. I don't care about anything unless, oh, we got too many parentheses. Hang on. Maybe. Oh, I don't have an equal sign. That's what the problem is. It's not going to know to do it as a formula if there's no equal sign. That's important. So let's put that equal sign back on the front here. There we go. Okay. There's the match. There's the match. That'll be the end. And then that's the value of true, and that's the value of false. Okay. So it should work now. And then the one thing I wanted to change was this guy. I'm going to actually move him over to C5 because I want to use a different value there than what I'm using right now. So again, it's NA because I don't have a item there, but we're going to use rep because I want to know who the big superstar is. So I'll paste that there. And of course, again, we got the, let's put some color back in there. There we go. So this one is greater than 1,000, and I can see which rep did it. Let's see. Yep, so we should be good now if I drag it down. Those ones aren't greater than 1,000. What did I do? Oh, it's because where is it? There it is. It's because I didn't lock this one. So like before, when I didn't lock it, when I move it down, it doesn't register it. So then the next one down, because I didn't lock that, it's actually looking at the cell below it, D7, which is empty, therefore equals 0. So is B6 greater than 0? Yeah, of course it is. So let's try it again. Yay, it worked. So I can see parent in that time frame, and then of course I could add another one to see the date, so I could see exactly what day it occurred on. And Smith also had a transaction. I could see what day it was on, and just easily dig through the data without me having to go over here and say, okay, who was it that had over $1,000? Okay, here's one here, right? Okay. Luckily, this data set isn't too big, so it's not impossible to dig through it. But could you imagine trying to do this with 1,000 rows of data, trying to find just those individual transactions? It'd be very time consuming. And instead, if you just use, oh, simple formula, you can pull that data out without having to do all that work. And then, of course, if you're not sure, there's nothing wrong with just coming over to your data and just taking a quick look, especially pulling up the ones that you've pulled out of the data that you're using, and just verify that, yep, those are correct. Because that means if they're working correct right now, you know, forbidding that you do any massive changes to your original sheet, it will continue to work indefinitely. All right. So we went through that. I gave you a good example of some interesting ways that you could use if in conjunction with some other things. Um, and actually, at this point, that gets to the end of the material that I was planning on presenting today. So, Hal, hang on, I guess I should pause for just a moment. If anyone has any questions, concerns, or other items you'd like me to go into a little bit right now, feel free to speak up.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and present for a second. And on Tuesday, if you could mute yours so it doesn't echo. When we met on Tuesday, Shauna brought up a difficulty that they've been having over at Nicholas, the 4th grade teachers. And they're tracking CFAs in a spreadsheet, and she was having to duplicate a lot of her work because she had her personal spreadsheet that she was tracking data in, and then she had one that was shared with the principal for him to review, and then she's also having to put that information into PowerSchool. And so we can definitely, Alex sent me a copy of their of their working spreadsheet, and I made some changes to it. We can very easily make it to where all the teachers only have to track it in one spreadsheet. You still we'll have to put it into PowerSchool, but it's definitely possible to just do the one spreadsheet for everybody. So I wanted to go over the changes that I made with this spreadsheet and to explain why I made the changes and how it can make your life easier. So the first thing I did is I changed the student names because we had real student names in the spreadsheet. So I just found a name generator and just pasted student names over the top of the existing student names so that we're not going to post a video of our student names and grades that they got in their class. So the student names changed, but all of this data that is in their spreadsheet is the actual data from the spreadsheet. And there's a section down here, a really good section that they had created where they're doing some calculations on that data. And then they have conditional formatting in here. If If it's a grade below 3, it's red. If it's 3 to 4, actually 3.9, it's yellow, and all the 4 and 5s are green. And then the reason they were sharing this with Kevin was Kevin, I called Kevin and I said, what do you want to get out of this spreadsheet? And he said, I look at that spreadsheet for one thing. I want to know which students need attention, which students need to be pulled out.